this is what we would call cross-training in singing. Oh my God, like already so much.
Know that you've been worried, but you're dripping in my favor.
Oh my God, I can't sing just because this is so low. Sucker when those toms come. Boom, 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 boom. I love it. So anyway, fuck it. I'm your vocal coach for today. And in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at Gigi Perez with Sailor Song. Honestly, I feel like I've heard this song before, but I've got a really terrible sense of songs, names, and things like that. So let's have a look to see what she's up to with her vocal technique.
Sailor Song, please welcome Gigi Perez.
Okay, I have heard this song before. I've had a couple of people singing this song, actually. Okay, let's go back on that because I remember... Oh my God, like already so much. So go, oh, we've gone from thick vocal folds into a falsetto where the vocal folds become so, oh, and she's giving it a really good shake. That's not what we would call a natural vibrato. We would basically be shaking the larynx, because it's not regular and it's not very fast, but it's a beautiful coloring technique. And there's a, that would take a little bit more practice. This is like those it's just one of those things you kind of need. I spent many years practicing that zombie shit. Yeah, I just love that song and it's so hard and it's so much fun, but it's sort of a similar thing in terms of the vocal technique. So she's really she's just changing the vowel, and I feel like it's kind of a descriptive changing of the vowel makes it interesting, but you don't, please don't. I said descriptive. Didn't say prescriptive. Okay. I don't want you to be like, okay, what is she doing on that beat? Yeah. Like kind of have fun with it. What are you trying to say with it? Whenever we're using one sort of like sound, like an, it's basically because, well, not basically, it's because there are no words to describe what is going on. It's like the highest of high of our emotional state. So I want you to feel the sound. What are you trying to say? She's crying in that moment. Lots of thyroid tilt. So we've got a thicker vocal fold sound that's quite interesting listening to this. My students sang this in a very sort of like singer-songwritery, sort of very quiet sound. So I'm loving hearing this original version. But it's quite low. Actually down on the A flat 3. So you can hear this. She's adding a little bit more of that pharyngeal vibrato going on there. And pharyngeal vibrato is actually where we use the back space. The pharynx is the back wall of the throat. Think about like when you got a sore throat, like that bit. We use that area to shake the sound to create quite a big irregular. And that's what creates that sort of sound. It's not really like a true vibrato. They'd be much, much smaller.
Laughing while she hid her pen and count.
Can you hear? Yeah, that's that pharyngeal vibrato where we're shaking the area Did you hear that? That was that flip. And that bit of the shimmer coming in there. True vibrato. I mean, look, honestly, it's really like a stylistic thing here. When we're talking about pop or any type of contemporary style of singing, we can use any type of vibrato. It actually is just a personal preference. But when we talk about musical theatre or classical, we would want a slightly smaller, quicker vibrato, like more regular vibrato. Sorry, there's just so many wonderful sounds that she's making it. So we've got a again, not making fun of Gigi, but this is just what it sounds like in my voice, okay? There is a slight tightening at the back of the throat and also a tightening of the back of the tongue. And that colors the sound to create that sort of darkening.
And then she came up to my knees, begging, baby, would you please do the things you said you'd do to me. Oh, won't you kiss me on the mouth and love me like a sailor? And when you get a taste, can you tell me what's my flavor?
Do you know what? There was someone else that did I think obviously it's a cover of the song. I didn't realize that it was Gigi Perez. Now I've heard there's a male that sings this song. When she's further down in the range, we've got an increase in around because we're down on that A flat 3 below middle C, that can be low for some voices. And so if we're bringing in a little bit of that pharyngeal constriction or a little bit, you could also call a little bit of twang in there as well. It's a tightening of the area above the larynx. Then that is, an area, not above the larynx, an area above the vocal folds. Zoe, get this right. Yeah, be specific. Sorry. And when we do that, it can help us to get better vocal fold closure and more volume lower in the range.
Laughing while she hit her pen and then she came up to my knees.
Now you can hear, and then she came up to, I'm overdoing it, around my knees. You could also say that I don't know what she sounds like when she's speaking. So it could be an amount of twang that is built into her normal accent.
Begging, baby, would you please do the things you said you'd do to me? Oh, won't you kiss me on the mouth and love me like a sailor?
Sucker when those toms come. Boom, 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 boom. I love it. So honestly, I also say, like, this is a beautiful performance, and I know it's a big performance for any artist. That little shake could, it just kind of occurred to me, that little shake could also come to a singer out of fear, okay? So when we're a little bit nervous, sometimes some things of ours shake, right? Some people it's the knees, some people it's the fingers, and for some singers it's their voices. And so what happens there is just the heart's beating so fast, we're kind of getting that shake on, and we're allowing it to affect the voice. And I just think there's something really beautiful about that. She's making the most of it by, this could also be intentional, okay? Could also be intentional, but I just want to let you know that as long as you don't sort of apologize for it within the performance of like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, make it just part of the performance, and then no one has a fucking clue whether it's meant to be there or not.
Me on the mouth and love me like a sailor. And when you get a taste, can you tell me what's my flavor?
It's actually only up on the F sharp. When I get a taste, can you tell me what's my flavor? We've got quite a closed mouth position there. That's going to be helping with that little bit of that sort of like tightening, angsty sound that we're getting in there. Tell me what my place and tell me what's my flavor. But also a slight tightening of the area inside the throat to create that sort of, I don't know, again, I don't want to use like angsty. It could be angsty, but it's just the sound that she's decided to go for. It's that slightly more pressed sound.
Don't believe in God, but I believe that you're my savior. My mom said that she's worried, but I'm covered in his favor. And when we're getting dirty, I forget all that is wrong. I sleep so I can see you, 'cause I hate to wait so long. I sleep so I can see, and I hate to wait so long.
Oh, I really love this. So we've got, this is sort of almost a little bit reminiscent of Alanis Morissette, right? Flavor, that sort of again, this sounds like I'm really making fun of, but I'm not. I don't know the words of this song enough. So we've got that sort of the accent. Again, I don't know what her natural accent is, but changing of the vowels, it's kind of what's like signaling a bit of Alanis. That flip into the falsetto as well. And just the choice of the vowel changes. You're wrong. They're allowing that at the end. Again, that's a thicker vocal fold to a falsetto flip. It's just using it as an offset rather than an onset to help, well, rather than an onset or even like as a coloring tool inside the note.
I can see you 'cause I hate to wait so long.
That long, it's not my accent, yeah, but those sort of things I love. Changing vowels and making them your own. So I do encourage you, if you are singing this song, change it to your own accent, okay? Don't just copy Gigi. Well, copy her to be like, oh, I really appreciate this piece of art. And then how can I make this my own piece of art?
So I can see, and I hate to wait so long.
So we heard there going, hey, do I can meet you, much, much lower in volume. We flipped up into a falsetto sound there. Also, you can see that there's a slightly smaller mouth shape. Now, that could be due to nerves, that her voice just kind of like flipped away. Happens to the best of us, okay? Could also be an emotional decision or an artistic decision. So I suppose it could be three different things that she's decided in there. We're hearing a little bit of that wobble going on there. I'm calling it a wobble, but it's also like a version of vibrato. We are having an oscillation of the pitch that is a vibrato of some sense.
What'd she do, Jimmy? She took my fingers to her mouth, the kind of thing that makes you proud, that nothing else had ever worked out. And maybe I tried other things, but nothing can capture the sting of the venom.
I love it. So this is also something that happens when we're singing lower in the range. We're trying to keep a thicker vocal fold. This, honestly, I really do believe this is what Gigi wanted. And like she can do whatever she wants with her own song. So ba-da-da. When we're trying to get thicker vocal folds further down in the range, that sort of like tightening can occur. So when we're getting that thicker vocal fold, sometimes if we're wanting the sound to sound less tight, so if we're not wanting it to sound as tight, whichever way I want to say it, we add a little bit of air, and that would help to allow us to release those muscles in the throat.
He's gonna spit out right now. Won't you kiss me on the mouth and love me like a sailor? When you get a taste, you tell me what's my flavor.
The song is so cool.
Capture the sting.
Got a high tongue position further forward in the mouth. Capture. We're actually only up on the A flat 4 there, the A flat above middle C. Very much in a sweet spot for the chest voice.
All the venom she's gonna spit out right now. Won't you kiss me on the mouth and love me like a sailor? When you get a taste, you tell me what's my flavor. Don't believe in God, but I believe that you're my savior. I know that you've been worried, but you're dripping in my favor. When we're getting dirty, I forget all that is wrong. I sleep so I can see you, 'cause I hate to wait so long. I sleep so.
So we got the down. Actually, this is relative. Day we want to know. Again, well, I said that before, but we're down back on the F sharp for man and butter now. This might be quite low for a lot of singers to work on their chest voices. So don't really like be don't sort of think like, oh my God, I can't sing just because this is so low. You might need to take the song up a little bit because like F sharp, that's sort of for a lot of singers where their chest voices are just sort of like starting to really sing. So you might need to take this up 2 to 3, even 3 semitones actually to just like boost that whole song. Otherwise this could sound a little bit dirgy when you're singing it actually, like a little bit down that thing. Works beautifully for Gigi.
Worried, but you're dripping in my favor. When we're getting dirty, I forget.
Can you hear? When you're dripping in my favor. She's like able to get a little bit more of that constriction going on. I really feel at that point, it's a little bit of so we have the true vocal folds and the false vocal folds. When we just basically like squeeze the throat a little bit, the false vocal folds come over the true vocal folds and cause that little bit of scratch. So that dripping in my favor. We're still keeping good vocal fold closure and we're not pressing the air below it, but just increasing that pressure above the vocal folds helps to create even more of that constricted sound.
That is wrong. Asleep so I can see you, 'cause I hate to wait so long. Asleep so I can see you, and I hate to wait so long.
So we heard there, again, there was like a stark contrast between the louder sound and the quieter sound. Again, I don't know Gigi's voice from I don't know hers from yours, right? But what I do know is that sometimes singers need to do that when they are feeling a little bit nervous. The voice kind of slips away. Also, due to practicing so much of the thicker vocal fold, they sort of lose this mid-sectional, this mixed voice where we're thinking about singing slightly quieter, but not just going like on and off with the chest voice. So that is something that we do need to look at. I can help you build up your mixed voice. It takes a bit of time about really learning all of the different parts of your voice, and you can apply it for singing lessons down in the description below, because we go into exactly this. How can I get from loud to quiet without just going like the arse dropping out of the sound? Again, that's probably what Gigi decided in this moment. We heard that short phrase, and she needed to kind of breathe. That was probably because there's an increase in the breath and the sound, and therefore, well, you just need to breathe more often.
Inside your house, I could be the cat, baby, you could be the mouse. We could laugh off things that we know nothing about. We could go forever until you wanna set it out.
So she's gone up and down and sit about, and we got that vibrato coming in there, changing those vowels. But we've got thinner vocal folds and way more thyroid tilt. You can hear that we're not in this falsetto sound, and I really do believe that's because of the amount of thyroid tilt that she's using now. So thyroid tilt is the thyroid is here inside the throat. Well, the larynx. Okay, it's the top part of the larynx. Every time I'm trying to explain thyroid tilt in a different way, I'm like, there is no other way to explain thyroid tilt. So here, the little knobble inside our throat is our Adam's apple, basically. Everyone's got one. It's where the vocal folds live. And when we tilt that forward, the sound will sound more sung. And it helps us to keep the vocal folds closed. Also helps us to access our vibrato as well. Okay, so we've got sort of like random voicings in here. This is showing me that Gigi is a fabulously trained singer. She's been doing this for a while. You can't do this sort of stuff without actually practicing it. She's got great sense of pitch. She's going, no matter, even if she wrote this song, if she does the same things over and over again, this is just like absolutely perfect with her pitching. And the sound is really stable, which just goes to show that practice has paid off in this moment. And like, don't think about range being like a measure of how good someone is, but once you're starting working on your song, then the range just increases anyway. So that sounds like slightly operatic, right? We've got thinner vocal folds, but this changing the placement of the sound. Now I'm kind of poo-pooing that because in my world that is relatively easy, but I'm well aware that for a lot of singers that is, the professional world, that is sort of what we would assume a singer would be able to change their voice to do. But in the non-professional world, this is relatively difficult. She's literally gone through like 3 different types of sound from the lower part of the range up into the highest. Let's just go back on that. So when you go, she opened up into what? Because when we're going higher in the range, we need more pharyngeal space. It's just easier if we open up our mouth slightly. She's not increasing the volume, but as we sing higher, the volume naturally increases. I just have to stop there again because what we didn't see her go, ripping open her mouth. She just opened it to a comfortable, so I want you to really take notes. There is no perfect amount of mouth opening when we are singing, but we're wanting to keep it all the time at the lowest possible amount of effort for the greatest gains. We're wanting to look at to make sure that the jaw, this is called the mandible joint. The mandible joint is not actually clicking outward when we're opening the jaw. That would be too far. That would tend to push the larynx down. And that's the falsetto. And we heard there's a woofy sort of sound. There's very little core to the sound. And she's tensing the back of the throat in order to, instead of going, because otherwise it'll be, if we weren't to tense the back of the, sorry, I started doing the second thing first. So if we're trying to create a louder falsetto, it's not about pushing breath. It's about increasing the amount of back pressure above the sound. So basically closing the throat, Zoe. Oh, that's so cool. I absolutely love it. So fantastic to hear that song in the original form. I'd love to let me know down in the comments what your favorite Gigi Perez song is and if I should have a look at more of her music. I really love that it's also, she does go into this sort of like improvised section at the end, but I'm really loving actually the simplicity of the melody and how it is a slightly lower, we would call that the tessitura. So where the voice is sitting, it's slightly lower in the range. And I'm really enjoying that for people who want to sing slightly lower, that, you could cut out that last section where they although you could use that as a vocal exercise, to be honest. It would just be a matter of kind of mapping it out where it was. But that is a really great way to work on slightly more of that classical sound. This is what we would call training in sync. My brain is getting ahead of my mouth. This is what we would call cross-training in singing. This is where we are working on the thicker vocal folds and the thinner vocal folds going further up in the range and making sure that we're able to go from loud to quiet and back and forth with our training. But that is something that I talk about inside my online singing school about. I will literally take you by the hand and show you. This is me taking you by the hand. and I'm taking you by the hand and I'm really going to show you the way to improve your singing voice. Not through babying you, but I'm going to show you how step by step you are able to improve your vocal technique. Not by showing you colors, not by giving you random exercises that you have no idea what you're doing. This is about understanding specific technical exercises that are going to get you to your goal, because I know what it's like to be in singing lessons and go I have no idea what you're talking about and I don't know how to practice this. So you just don't end up practicing it and you don't make any progress. So you can apply down in the description below. Wow, Gigi, I can't wait to check out more of her music. I haven't looked at her here on the channel before, but I'm going to have a little look at what is really, really similar and put it up here for you so you can keep on learning. Have an awesome rest of your day. And just remember, anyone can learn to sing. You just have to learn how to move all of these beautiful muscles. Happy practicing. Ka kite anō.